Another disgusting entity that I thought would be good to talk about, which a lot of people are aware of this by now, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is run by the U.S., but of course backed by Israel. And recently there was a military veteran, Anthony Aguilar, who was a contractor for the private company UGE Solutions, and he blew the whistle on the GHF that he was part of. And he, of course, confirmed what Palestinians have been saying all along, which is that Palestinians are being killed by the contractors who are intentionally firing on the Palestinians as they get aid. He's a Green Beret, and I want to show two clips. So here he is talking about this on Democracy Now!
55 green-tipped ammunition. That's important because green-tipped ammunition is a steel-jacketed copper round that's specifically designed to penetrate armor.
Sorry, so in case I was talking over it, he's saying that this is what they were issued.
It's designed to shoot through reinforced objects to kill someone on the other side of it. That's what all the UG Solutions contractors are equipped with right now in country. Everyone carries a standard basic load of 210 rounds of M855 armor-piercing military combat ammunition. Why would anyone need that? Even if to defend themselves, defend their lives against an unarmed population. It's inappropriate. That in and of itself, that action there is a war crime.
And now I'm going to play another excerpt. This comes from a site called Unacceptable, like UNXEPTABLE. And here's Aguilar recounting a personal interaction he had with a 5-year-old Palestinian child. And he describes this interaction and then describes what happens to this child. And it's trigger warning. It's very upsetting. But I think it's important to see.
And he put down the little food he has. You notice he doesn't have a box. He doesn't have a box of food. He has half of a bag of rice that he found on the ground, a broken bag, half a bag of lentils that he found on the ground. And he was thanking us. Thank you. This little boy from where he came from walked 12 kilometers to get there, just to get there. 12 kilometers. Look at this boy. And when he got there, he thanked us for the remnants and the small crumbs that he got. And he sets them down on the ground because I was kneeling at this point, and he sets his food down and he places his hands on my face, on the side of my face, on my cheeks, these frail, skeleton, emaciated hands, dirty. And he puts them on my face and he kissed me. He kissed me and he said, thank you, in English. Thank you. And he collected his items and he walked back to the group. And then he was shot at with pepper spray and tear gas and stun grenades and bullets shot at his feet and in the air. And he runs away scared. And the IDF were shooting at the crowd. So they're shooting to control the population that's along the Marag corridor. And as they're doing that, they're shooting into this crowd. And Palestinians, civilians, human beings are dropping to the ground, getting shot. And Amir was one of them. Amir walked 12 kilometers to get food, got nothing but scraps, thanked us for it, and died.
So that's the America's contribution to this.
Right. Those were American-made bullets, no doubt.
Yeah. And American contractors also.
Right.
Yeah. It's and Katie, you said something important at the beginning. You said, the American media, and now they're finally saying what the Palestinians were saying. Actually, it's kind of interesting to see what else they ignored. There's a fellow, I believe his name is Yaakov Garb. I'm actually going to have lunch with him in the Bay Area in a few weeks. But he's an Israeli researcher, I think an anthropologist, if I remember correctly. But he's an Israeli researcher at Ben Gurion University in Beersheba, and he wrote a study for one of Harvard's research websites called the Harvard Dataverse, where before these things opened, all he did was look at satellite images of them. He just looked at them. All of the GHF sites are clones of each other. They're all exactly the same. And he wrote, and I can't remember the exact words, so I apologize to the listener, but what he concluded after looking at these satellite images was that these sites are specifically and deliberately designed to bring a civilian population into contact with the Israeli military, to leave them helpless, and to almost ensure that they get killed. So not only was the media ignoring what Palestinians were saying on the ground, they even ignored what Israelis said beforehand. And this was actually kind of interesting, because the reason I found this study is because the media made a big deal out of a misinterpretation of one of the maps that happened, where people started saying, look, this Harvard study shows that 400,000 Palestinians are missing from Gaza. So Harvard says 400,000 Palestinians have been killed or fled. This is a misunderstanding. And in fact, it was just a misprint on the map. Fine. But the same people, they must have read the study. Like they're sitting here complaining. There was a whole show on the BBC. I think there was a whole show on Sky News. There was a whole show on some American network. I can't remember which one now. And so they read the study. They knew exactly what it was, and they just used it to bash pro-Palestinian activists instead of actually to tell people what it said. Is absolutely. I couldn't believe it. When I actually read the study, I was like, why are they? I mean, they could say, yeah, look, this is a mistake. That's not what it says. But look at what it does say. Right. Good Lord. And that's exactly what happened. You know, Haaretz, after the GHF started operating, Haaretz interviewed I don't know, half a dozen Israeli soldiers. And I don't know if people noticed in the first clip that you played, but there's basically two huge groups of people, and there's a sandbank between them, and bullets keep hitting the sandbank, and people are trying to like jump across, because obviously the people in front are thought they're going to get access to the GHF, and the people behind are not, right? But there's just a stream of bullets going. In other words, there's that stream of bullets divides the people who get to go versus who don't get to go. And the Israeli soldiers described that's exactly what they described doing. They said, we were ordered to fire on people in order to control their movements. It had nothing to do with protecting us. No one ever fired back, and there was no concern that they were Hamas or any such stupid thing. And furthermore, that one of them even the phrase he used was, our method of communication with the Palestinians is gunfire. I mean, you don't need anything more than that. So not only is the American media ignoring what the Palestinians are saying, it's ignoring what Israeli soldiers themselves are saying, it's ignoring what Israeli researchers are saying. Like, how much more evidence do people need that this is an American project, not an Israeli project? You know, right. If this was like, oh, we just care about Israelis, we want to make sure Israel. Oh, well, maybe you would listen to their soldiers and the researchers if that was the case. But it's not the case. It's just not at all. This is 100% in our domain. We have every opportunity, not just to stop the GHF, but to stop all of this insanity. And we don't have to attack anybody. We don't have to bomb anybody. We just have to stop sending the weapons.
That's right. Remember, in the early 80s, Reagan stopped the bombing of Beirut with one telephone call in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
In which he called what Israel was doing a holocaust.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because actually the thing that moved Reagan apparently was, he called Menachem Begin was the prime minister at the time. He called him and he said, I'm calling you for two reasons. One is to tell you that the symbol of your country is becoming a 3-month-old baby with its arms blown off, which was a picture that somebody gave him, and he was so moved by it that he put it on his desk. And we're talking about Ronald Reagan, which is actually your previous guest also mentioned him. He was hardly a peacenik. And then he said, secondly, if you don't stop the terror bombing of Beirut right now, there is going to be a major reevaluation of U.S. aid to Israel and the U.S.-Israel relationship in general. And exactly like Mark said, he brags that Begin called him back 20 minutes later and said the bombing is over. It won't restart.
Right.
It doesn't take anything.